Hello everyone. This is Pastor Ornella and I'm back. So I decided to do a video because I have heard many times many questions that were asking me why have I stopped doing videos, and so I decided to ask people to send me their questions so I can answer the questions that they have. So this is a video responding to all the questions that I have been receiving. So I will get to answer some throughout different days, so I won't go ahead and answer all of them. Some questions I got through my WhatsApp, through Facebook, through my website, so even Twitter. So yeah, so the questions I will go ahead and start with, these are questions about the idea of how to make it, and how to really understand the notion of being successful and really doing what you love and you're called to do. This is a very tricky question because even if this was a common question I was getting most of the time of how did you make it, I'll also go to challenge that I haven't quite made it yet. I'm learning along the way. I allow and I make room for mistakes, and that is something that many times we don't understand, that it is okay to make mistakes as long as you learn from them, as long as they turn out to become a lesson, not a room of repetition. So for me, it's have a spirit that is teachable. I have mentors who are great. I learn from them. They pray for me. They advise me. They really come after me in a sense. And it is good. It is good sometimes to learn to have people in your life who don't always tell you what you want to hear. And it is something I had to learn along the way, that sometimes you need to hear something you don't want to hear, because some truth always make us uncomfortable, but they help us grow. And sometimes we stop working on ourselves just because of these notions, as long as I'm saved and have Jesus as my savior, then that's it. But that is not it, because Jesus does not want us to be comfortable. It is that we are on a journey of learning from one another, a journey of learning from even the mistakes that we make, but even learning from the things we hear, even they're not always good to hear. And it's something I even come to learn from my relationship with my older sister, Axela. She will find a way to tell me something, and I will always be like, okay, I heard. And she'll be like, no, I'm just saying. And I'll be like, okay, I heard you. And I will start realizing that the conversation was going so well. And then suddenly I'm just going crazy. Why? Because I'm finally realizing that the things I didn't want anybody to see, now someone has seen them, but they're also articulating my weaknesses, and it always makes us uncomfortable. And actually that was for me the point where I realized I need to work on myself, but I even needed to work in that area she was pointing out. So in other words, is I know sometimes people who always come to us will always say either they're haters, or they are just there to criticize. It is true. There are people who are going to be some haters, and there are people who are just going to be there to just criticize. But you also need wisdom. You need wisdom to know the difference between realizing who is there to be Haman and who is there to be your Mordecai. Now, for those who know their Bibles, they will know what I'm talking about. But you need to know who is there to give you a wisdom advice, and knowing a destructive advice. So you need really the wisdom to know, to choose what will work, and what is there to build you. Now, if I go back to the question on how I made it, I'm not quite sure how to answer the question, how I made it. What I can say is understanding who I am, is understanding that notion that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That I literally walk into that every single day in my mindset by Romans chapter 12 verse 2. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your what? Of your mind, of understanding that success has nothing to do with age. Success has nothing to do with your family. Success has nothing to do with what's available. Like I need money to do this. It's how are you able to use the few resources that you have where you are? Because before you want a lot, you need to be able to manage little. And the problem in our time is we want so much when we haven't even challenged and proven that we can handle little. And sometimes we want big positions before we have proven if we have characters. Sometimes we have so much power before we can even learn how to manage money. So you realize that we want so much when we don't know how to manage little. So for me, it's before you want to make it there, it is important that we look from inside first. Am I that person before I get what I need to be? And for me, it's success. The first success is understanding who you are. Success is in your character before you think success is in the wealth. Even if today we think that success is in the money, success is in the things that we drive or the kind of, if you were Versace or Gucci. But success is really realizing that I am this person and this is all the greatness that God has placed in me, and I need to use all my talents and gifts not only for the glory of God, but even to be a blessing to others and to impact the world. And I say I would rather be a little light than being a big darkness. Meaning I would rather bring small positive impact in the world than bringing really nothing in the world. So I'm not sure if I'm answering that question, but for me is you need to hear certain things if you want to make it. You may not like it, but that is what mentorship is all about. That is what spiritual parents are all there about. That is what, even parenting is all about. That's what professors are there for. That's what teachers are there for. That's what coaching is there for. Why? Because sometimes you need that other person to look at you from a different perspective and to listen the things you don't want to hear, because sometimes our weakness, we know them, but we have never heard them. So hearing and knowing are two different things. When you hear something, it allows you to think now, how can I work on this? How can I work on myself? How can I improve myself? How can I, now start using, my talents? How can I start realizing that, yes, I have these gifts, but how can I make room to build myself in a positive way instead of, keep looking at the things that I don't have that increases my low self-esteem. So I will answer that question in a very short time, and I hope I do. Otherwise, I will make a second version of this one.